Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. This is going to be kind of a quick one, but we got some new information on the upcoming Aya Neo OLED Windows handheld that they've kind of been teasing. I've actually been really excited about this handheld given its form factor, and I have created one video on it. I did have some exclusive images in that, and the same goes for this video here. We've got some new images that we're going to take a look at, and some new information. Originally, they didn't announce the name, but we now know it's the Aya Neo Air. Given how small this thing is, when you compare it to like a Nintendo Switch Lite, it's around the same size. It might come in a little thicker. Originally, we knew that there was going to be two color variations, a white and a black, and I really do like what they've done with the triggers up top here. Kind of fades from pink to blue. I'm really digging this. I think it looks absolutely amazing. And the black kind of does the same thing, but it kind of fades from blue to purple or vice versa, however you want to look at it. But I'm kind of a fan of this pink and blue here on the white version. I just think it looks really, really good. We finally get a full view of the rear of the unit. As you can see, there will be a lot of ventilation here for this Ryzen APU, and at the time of making this video, we're not exactly sure of which APU it's using, but for sure it's an AMD APU that's never been seen in a Windows handheld before. I do have some more comparison photos here. As you can see, it's on par with the size of a Switch Lite. It looks like it might be just a tad bigger, but if you've ever held a Switch Lite in your hands, you know how small this thing can be. Got the analog pocket. I guess this is the Z Flip. And an OG Game Boy Advance. Got a new image here with the D-pad and the left analog stick. So around the analog sticks, we will have breathing lights. They're LEDs. I'm not exactly sure if these are RGB or not. The only images that I've seen so far have these blue LEDs, but it still looks really good. It's going to come in a tad bigger than the Switch Lite, but as you can see, not by much at all. Over on their official YouTube page, they recently posted a gameplay video showing off some indie games running on the hardware. It was all screen capture, but everything looked pretty good. It was mostly indie games, but I've gotten my hands on a list of games that have been tested on this. Shows us what kind of resolution we can expect, what kind of settings, and FPS. This might be a bit hard for some people to see. It was a very small image and I tried to AI upscale it. I think it did a pretty decent job, but starting from the left-hand side, we've got Stardew Valley. Running at 4 watts, 1080p, obviously this is going to run at 60. You can go down the list here on the left-hand side with all the indie games, but really what I'm worried about are the AAA games. So moving over to the right-hand side with the first AAA game, we've got Cyberpunk 2077. With the unit running at 13 watts, 720p, low settings, it'll run at 30 FPS. Really great performance for a small handheld like this. Grand Theft Auto 5. 9 watts, 720p default settings, so this is going to be normal. It'll run at 30, or if you take that wattage up to 12 watts, it'll run the game at 60. Forza Horizon 5 at 12 watts, 1080p, low settings, 30 FPS, 9 watts, 720p, it'll also run it at 30. I think we can get a little more out of it once we tweak and tune this a little bit. Fortnite, 9 watts, 720p, low settings, it'll run it at 60. Metro Exodus, 11 watts at 720p, low, we've got another 30 FPS game. WRC9 at 12 watts, 720p, 30 FPS. Shadow of the Tomb Raider at 11 watts, 720p, it'll run it at 30. Lego Star Wars, 8 watts, 30 FPS. Apex Legends, 13 watts, low settings, 60 FPS. Elden Ring, 10 watts, 720p, low settings, 30 FPS. If we can pull this off at 10 watts on this handheld, then I'll be sold. This is a really hard game to run on these APUs, and 30 FPS at 720p doesn't look bad, especially on a really nice screen like this thing's going to have. Got The Witcher 3, 11 watts, it'll do 30 FPS, 720p low, and NBA 2K22, 10 watts, 1080p, default settings, it'll run it at 30. So yeah, if all of this stands true with the wattage and the FPS and the resolution that they have set here, this is going to be an awesome little handheld to carry around with you. It would be nice to run all of this at 60, but when it comes to these handhelds, 30 is definitely good enough. Along with that, we've got some new information on the specs. Now they're claiming that this is going to weigh less than 400 grams. That's going to be one light little handheld, and if we can get a 400 gram handheld with the performance from those charts we just saw, this thing's going to be amazing. It's going to have a 5.5-inch OLED display with a resolution of 1080, 404 pixels per inch, 109% NTSC, 100% sRGB, and 99% DCI-P3. The colors on this are going to pop. Obviously, I mean, it's an OLED. This display is going to look really good. When it comes to the CPU, we still don't have that much information. We don't know exactly what's going to be running in here. The only thing that they've stated is that it's a U series and it's never appeared in a Windows handheld before. No word on the clocks, cores, or threads with this APU. It will have linear triggers, and the power button also doubles as a fingerprint sensor, just like on the Aya Neo Next. It's got a micro SD card slot, headphone jack, Wi-Fi 6E, dual stereo speakers at the bottom of the unit, and it does use an NVMe. They're stating that it's bigger than the 2230 NVMe, so I'm not exactly sure what they're going for here, but putting an 80mm in here might be pushing it. Hopefully that's what they do. But yeah, this is the information we have right now. The other thing that they're stressing is that it's going to be an affordable price. Now, we're not sure what affordable means to them, but when it comes to their other handhelds, they can get quite expensive, but they are premium items. But overall, I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to get my hands on one and test it out. One of the main things I'm looking forward to is retro gaming on this unit. I think PSP, PS2, GameCube is going to look absolutely amazing on this display. It's not the biggest display in the world, but they're trying to keep the form factor and the price down, and I completely understand. Personally, I don't mind having a smaller display as long as it looks really good, and portability is a key factor when it comes to these handhelds. This thing would definitely fit in my pocket. I can put the Switch Lite in my pocket. This isn't going to be much bigger than that, so it can basically be carried anywhere. If there's any other major updates, I will make a post in my community tab, and if it's something super major, I will make one more video. But they should be announcing everything this month. We don't have a set date yet, but I'll keep you updated if you keep an eye on my community tab. I'd also like to know your thoughts on the Aya Neo Air. Are you interested in picking one up if the price is right or if the performance is right? And really, what price should this be set at in the US? But that's going to wrap it up for this one. And like always, thanks for watching.